Okay guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. It's Jay Ayyo. So today I will be talking about the landmark case that the Prime Minister of Jamaica has lost. Now, the key issue with this matter was this was a matter done back in 2020, and now 6 years later a decision is now being rendered by the judiciary of Jamaica. Now, what basically happened was that the Prime Minister of Jamaica approved a permit for a mining company to mine I wouldn't say sea, but minerals in a local area, specifically in the St. Anne's Bay area, the area between Discovery Bay stretch and I don't want to say Tumanig, but to Montego Bay, just for reference. I know I'm not being very specific, but yeah. So the judiciary voided the permit that the Prime Minister of Jamaica issued. There were over 76 conditions that were issued. The locals in the Discovery Bay area disagreed with the mining that was about to take place because they viewed it as they're entitled to a safe and healthy environment. The void the voiding of the permit was of the premise that it had breached the constitutional rights of the individuals. Now, the Prime Minister has come out and said that he is not against damaging the environment. However, other people would disagree. There has always been a controversial issue with the government of Jamaica managing the resources that it has over profit, meaning they tend to go towards, if we're going to get a lot of money for this, we'll do it. Now, in the same parish which has the bauxite, there's a bauxite in St. Anne's Bay, well, not St. Anne's, in the parish of St. Anne, and they've mined it, and that is what they use to create foil. Now, the St. Anne area, or St. Anne Parish, is very rich in minerals, and so is St. Elizabeth, and I believe there's another area in Kingston. But what has been the trend with the government of Jamaica, or with successive governments, whether this is PNP or JLP, both fingers will be pointed at them, they have tended to sold out the natural resources of the country over the people. Let's be quite honest and let's be blunt. But that is the reality there. What the Prime Minister did was, acting as the minister, issued the permit. Now, the Prime Minister went against the NR, the what you'd call the agency that issues permits, right? And he also went against the fishing department, which all opposed doing this and approving the permit. Now, what ended up happening was that this matter had to be taken to court, and this is what we call judicial review. For all the people who are not learned in the legal practice, a judicial review, long story short, is a process where you challenge a process where you have been aggrieved, or where citizens or individuals have been aggrieved, which is what took place. Now, the National Resources Conservation Authority was the one that declined the permit, and the Prime Minister overturned the permit, but issued, I think, over 70 conditions that needed to be abided by. Now, most companies that work in Jamaica, though they may be issued with conditions, they don't always follow them, and it is not always a practice of them following the condition, and there's usually not a lot of enforcement when it comes to it, because Jamaica is a large mass. They don't have that much enforcement when it comes to dealing with matters related to the environment. And so the forestry department and the National Conservation Authority the best that they could do is decline it. But what tends to happen politically is that, because it may be viewed as an interest, or investment will be coming in, and Jamaica going to get a little tax or whatever, they will screw the whole environment just to make money. And we have seen this time and time again. There was an issue in St. Elizabeth where there was a bauxite company there, and all that would happen was that when they mined, all the dust would come on people, and there has been proven fact that those people ended up tended to have cancers and various illnesses. There was another issue in Kingston where there was some mining going on as well, and it was the same issue. And I don't doubt that in St. Anne, where the boxing company is, there are issues there. But I digress, and I am going to come back to the matter. And so the court made it clear that the inclusion of conditions did not satisfy constitutional requirements. It emphasized that a minister cannot lawfully override a technical body providing a credible justification grounded in evidence. So I'm going to use a legal term which we call prima facie, which, on the surface of it, you just don't, because you're a minister and you can do it, don't mean you do it. That's why you delegated the responsibility to the authority, which is the bureaucrat or the technocrat, to make the scientific decisions. A minister is not a scientist unless they have been trained and gone to academic school or university in either climate change or environmental policy, things of that nature. And the Prime Minister would have been advised on the matter, but like politicians, in terms of what they do, they tend to with what they think is superior and what they think is better. And it is good to see you have the different branch of power saying, no, 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 this is not right. We're going to void this permit. Now, more than likely, the government of Jamaica is going to appeal it because they're going to be upset that they lost. But the reality is, in this case, the rights of the people were protected. And that corridor, in terms of environmentally, it is biologically unique. There's no place like it in the world. So if it had been mined, it would have been destroyed and it wouldn't have recovered. Now, the government of Jamaica, which is the JLP-led administration, has been taking approaches to damage the environment. Now, why do I say that? There has been what I would say strategic approaches taken to dismantle environmental rights in some instances and to do do what they want, which is what the government does, is that they think they can do everything that they want and they can do no wrong. And so it is good to see that the voices of the people were respected, and I am sure a legal battle, environmental legal battle, had to be enacted. At the end of the day, the politicians do not see anything that they do wrong. And I'm sure this was not a consultative process where they went to the people and did stakeholder arrangements, talks to say, this is what we plan to do and all of that. So when government fails to communicate with its people and breach your constitutional rights, this is where you have the judicature or the judiciary to pretty much say, let's see, let's look at the thought, let's go down into the matter and see what really is the issue here. And so, with that being said, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you in the next video. Guys, if you have any comments, please put down below. Was the Prime Minister right to issue the permit? Was the judiciary right to overrule or void the permit? Thank you, guys.